Hey guys, Dante here, back with another little video, and in this one I'll be showing you what I plan to league start as in 3.19, and it's gonna be the same build I league started in 3.17, which is a Ignite Hexblast Elementalist, which later will transition into a Occultist using Black Flame, which converts fire damage into chaos damage. But until then, let's get off with the basics. I am on standard now because 3.18 just ended. So I am on standard. The migration, the league start is tomorrow, so in just a few hours, basically a day in a few hours. And I just put on some gear to showcase the build and give you some of my thoughts on it. I'll have the link to the POB in the description, as long as with my previous videos. In case you didn't know, I had like a bunch of videos on Hexblast from my 3.7 league starter and progression and stuff like that, and I did a day-by-day update to the build until I transitioned to Occultist with Black Flame and basically beat the entire endgame with that. Now, let's get into the basic. Hexblast is this skill over here, and to use Hexblast, you want to use Doomsday, which whenever you cast a spell, it's gonna do like that. When you see the little pop, and it makes the enemies inside that circle accumulate Doom. And when you reach max Doom, that thing's gonna pop, and that's, you know, when you have your maximum damage output. So let me do a new instance over here. Again, I'm on standard, so just like a few gears, level 97, doesn't really matter. So you cast this, and when it pops, it's maximum damage. But keep in mind that you do not have to wait for that to pop off, right? That is what you want to use on bosses. So there's a thing that you can use while clearing maps or acts or stuff like that. You just walk through, and if you do this, it doesn't do much, right? So you want to have a hex at least somewhere to get that nice big area of effect explosions and make your mapping all the more better, right? Nobody wants to like do one hex and kill one enemy. So you either cast it and curse a lot of enemies and then pop them off, right? Like that. I don't have Ignite Proliferation in the setup, so it's not gonna prolife. So you can either curse and then Hex Blast, or you can use a Blasphemy setup and then you permanently have a curse up. You just walk, they get cursed, you move on with your life, right? Just like that. But in order for this to function, you need to have a knowledge of the maximum number of curses on a character. By default, you start with 1, and then you can have other sources of curses, like the Occultist Ascendancy, for example, is one of them. You can get Whispers of Doom anointed on your tree over here if you want additional curse. There's also some unique items with additional curse, such as Vixens, Windscream, which in 3.19, Windshriek, which is the faded version of Windscream, will no longer exist. So Windscream will take all the properties of Windshriek, like 30 movement speed, additional curse, more armor, res, stuff like that. So this is gonna be like your endgame boots. I want to say until like way into the endgame, when you can start replacing and ditch off some curses. Also, Vixens is a really good quality of life. For example, as you can see here, I'm casting Flame Blast, right? Flammability, Flame Blast, sorry about that. So I'm casting Flammability, but I'm also casting Ellie Weakness. You saw that? How do I do that? Basically, whenever Vixen, when you have a curse in Vixens and you use another curse, it's gonna trigger the gem that's inside the gloves. But the mana cost still applies. So you got 21 for Flammability, you got 14 for Ellie Weakness. So you're basically got like 35 total mana cost, right? For 2 curses. Now, at the current state that this build is, for example, again, it's just a random build. It's got nothing on it. Just I took some points like to replicate a little bit of the tree, but not really. You can have, at this point, you can have 3 curses. One by default, one from Vixens, and one from Windscream. So you can have 3 curses, which means if I run to a pack of mobs, I'm still gonna be able to apply the temp change as my aura, and I'm still gonna be able to apply the 2 damage curses, right? So the more curses that are on the enemies, the more damage you do. That's basically the gist of the build, honestly. And yeah, when you have Ignite Proliferation or Elemental Prolif, the build is gonna feel extremely smooth. You can just clear screens away. I'm gonna link you the video to the 3.17 one, which again, it didn't really change. And it was extremely fun. I had a lot of people come into my Twitch stream, which you should follow, by the way, Twitch TV/900151, telling me that they do like the build, that they're having a lot of fun with it. And it was very cheap to get going. Like Pyre, they want 1C, Vixens 1C, Windscream or Windshriek like 5C. The only really expensive thing in the build was Martyr, which I bought like day 2, I think, for like 50 chaos, which was again a bargain, honestly. Like, it was so cheap for the amount of damage that this provides. Now, in the POB section, let me show you here, there are going to be some changes in the notes. In the notes section, you have like the leveling steps, how I used the Fireball Rolling Magma with Prolif and Arcane Surge with Flame Wall. Flame Wall can hard carry you, honestly, through like clearing acts and stuff like that. And on bosses, you want to use something else, like Holy Flame Totem and stuff. Or you can use like Freezing Pulse, traps, mines. It doesn't really matter until you get your Flame Blast. Once you get Flame Blast, you want to use your flammability to curse the enemies, and then you just pop off using Elemental Prolif, and it's gonna be a breeze, trust me. You will die in the acts. In the acts is a very squishy build, but once you get into like maps and like end white, like high tier, mid white maps to yellow maps, you're gonna get some masteries, you're gonna get life on block, you're gonna have max block almost. You get some block from the staff, you spec into the block nodes, you get life on block and stuff like that, all those good masteries. You get 20 life when you block, and yeah, it's really a fun build to play, honestly. What else? So yeah, keep in mind the number of curses that you can apply. The unique items are very cheap, and the noteworthy changes in 3.19, I think, while leveling, you might want to use like Emperor's Vigilance if you're leveling with a wand and shield, because Martyr is like level 60 plus required. So you want to use a wand and shield, or 2 wands or something like that, depending how much you want to die. Emperor's Vigilance in 3.19 received a nice buff, which basically gives you glancing blows with the minimum downside. Singularity got a little bit buffed. Reduced mana cost of skills, a lot of flat damage plus some hinder, which is very nice. And probably the biggest one of them all, it's the Covenant Spider Silk Robe, which was extremely buffed in 3.19. It gives you like 29. Yeah, it gives you a level 29 added chaos damage, which is a lot of flat damage. If you can get this early, you can use it all the way until you get like a additional cursed chess piece or something really well rounded. Downside of this is skills gain a base life cost equal to 100% of base mana cost. So we're gonna have to wait and see how it works. I can't really say how much your life is gonna dip when you use all your skills and stuff like that. But with the amount of flat damage that you get from this, I think is really worth it. Another one, in 3.19, I won't be using Flame Surge anymore. Flame Surge is really annoying and really clunky to use. I freaking hate this thing. And I'm gonna replace it with Alchemist's Mark, is the new mark released in 3.19. Currently is not in POB, but it will be a lot of quality of life, because I'm gonna use it with Mark on Hit. If it works, in theory it should work. So Mark on Hit, Alchemist's Mark instead of Flame Surge, and we're just gonna use Arcane Surge to get a little bit more damage whenever you use that. With Molten Shell and increased duration, should be fine. You don't need 2 6 links, you only need 1 6 links, one for your damage. The other ones can be like jiggled around. Like as you can see here, I'm using Combustion with Wave of Conviction and Defiance banner. It's very, very, very easy to swap around gems. You don't really have to do exactly what's in the POB. So you can just swap gems around, swap links around, see whatever goes for your build. And this is currently endgame with Martyr with clusters. So I'm using one cluster, one medium, and one small. Enduring Composure is very, very good. But there's also endgame with Martyr without just one medium and one small. It's still pretty good damage, pretty good survivability. Now, the biggest change that really occurred in 3.19 is GG is removing the mana reservation, right, from the skill tree, which is kind of sad, really, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to go through it. We're gonna have to improvise. You're gonna have to be a little bit careful with what auras you wanna fit in. You can use Determination is really good. If you want to use Malevolence is really good for more damage. Defiance banner is kind of like now. Vitality is still pretty decent early, and then you can just use whatever you want further. You can use Scare Bots if you want to shock. You can use whatever, right? It's very malleable when it comes to like auras and stuff like that. So feel free to swap around, feel free to twink around with it. And as you can see, the tree is like level oriented, so you can go level 122 and stuff like that. You can just choose your path. This is probably how I'm gonna use it when I league start, and then gonna convert into Martyr, trying to get my hands on the Martyr as soon as I possibly can, and hopefully it's not gonna be too expensive. But yeah, please feel free to check out my previous videos. I don't want to make this video too long. It's already a little bit long. So feel free to check out my other videos where I did a day-by-day update on how Hexblast improved and how an extremely good league start it is. I'm going to have those links in the description. And as always, I'm going to stream on League Launch on Twitch TV/Dante00151. Feel free to drop by, say hi, let me know what your league's starting. And yeah, I'll be streaming the entire week of the league launch, so I hope to see you there. Join the Discord, and as always, until next time, take care and stay safe.